When the two women wanted to eat at a roadside shop, it wasn't long before an old woman came with a basket on her back. The man who owned the shop approached the two women and asked permission to serve the old woman first. Because the old woman looked tired and perhaps hungry, kindly seeing the old grandmother, the two women invited her in. The man who owned the shop approached the old grandmother and asked what did she want to eat. "I want to eat," answered the old grandmother with a weary face. The shop owner prepared food for the grandmother and the two women. Not long after, when the grandmother finished eating, the man who owned the shop approached her with a friendly smile. The shop owner asked what grandma had finished eating. The old grandmother agreed and immediately paid for her food. But unexpectedly, the grandmother paid with white paper that resembled the shape of money. The two women who were earlier were shocked to see it, but the man who owned the shop with a friendly smile accepted the money and thanked him for the money. Seeing that, the two women were surprised and asked the man who owned the shop, "What are you doing? Grandma paid with play money, and you accepted it," said one of the women in surprise. The man who owned the shop smiled and answered that this was toy money made by the old grandmother. The grandmother lives alone, walks very far to look for second-hand goods. Almost every day the grandmother comes here and pays with this toy money. The woman is also surprised that every day the grandmother pays with toy money. The woman asked the shop owner with a smile. The man told her that he lived and grew up in an orphanage and had anyone like that grandmother. "I can make money better than my grandmother. My grandmother walked kilometers from her house to look for second-hand goods, which are not much. I'm luckier," said the shop owner. The woman was amazed to hear the answer from the man who owned the shop. Not long after, the shop owner asked permission to put the bowl in the back, but as he walked to the back, the man who owned the shop received a telephone call. The call was from the shop owner who was collecting unpaid rent. The shop owner asked for extra time because he didn't have the money to pay him. Hearing that, the woman told her assistant to take the money from the car. It turned out that the woman was the boss of a company in that city. After finishing eating, the two women went and said, "I put the money to pay for the food on the table." But to his surprise, the man who owned the shop saw a pile of money on the table. He called out to the two women with a smile. The woman said, "I find it easier to make money than you, so the money is for you to pay the rent for this shop." The two women walked away from the shop. How warm this world would be if everyone was like the shop owner and the boss lady in this story, respecting each other regardless of position, helping each other when someone is in trouble. Remember to do good to others, no matter how small, it will be reciprocated with greater kindness to us.